My name is Gary London, and who's the other guy on the screen?
Nathan Moeder.
So, so between the two of us, we are London. I guess we're London Moeder Advisors now.
Yes, we are. I'll tell you that story later.
Okay, we used to be London Moeder Advisors, but it seems like he just changed his name. So either way, welcome to our introductory video. I think what we're going to try to do is create regular videos to post for the purpose of maybe just to entertain ourselves, but hopefully to inform our clients and our friends, whoever's interested in some of the things that we've been thinking about, what I sometimes call tongue-in-cheek, the great issues of our time. But Nathan and I discovered over the years that we have a lot of opinions of things that matter in the land use world, in the real estate world, in the public policy world. And we thought instead of just, entertaining each other, that we would sort of entertain you and bring those issues out. So what we thought we would do is tell you a little bit about us in this video, what we've been doing, and use that as an opportunity to sort of kick this off. And then we'll come up with some subsequent videos on issues that matter to us. Some of them are going to be local to San Diego. We're San Diego based, what I call boutique real estate advisory firm with tentacles outside of the real estate area as well. We have a 32-year history of doing market studies and financial feasibility studies and fiscal impact and economic studies in the real estate and other worlds connected to it. And our clients typically are real estate developers, investors, lenders, anybody that owns real property that has questions like, we want to develop our property, or we want to invest in property, or we have property. What should we do with it? How do we go about it? How much money we're going to make? That's generally our business. Typically, the way we express the answers to those questions is by professional term paper writing and research. We do a lot of research to answer questions regarding marketplace, regarding financial feasibility, and in other related issues. And I've been at this personally many decades, leading back to well into the 20th century. And Nate and I have been together for what, Nate, 25 years or so?
Yep.
And we've been partners for about half that time, I guess. So we've been partners and together for a long time.
I think the idea behind us doing these videos is we kick around so many ideas, whether it's articles or we read an article or there's a new policy being put out there by the city or developers doing something or planning groups doing something. We talk about issues every single day in the office. And I think my experience is when I go to lunch with people or you go to lunch with people, I think they say, hey, what are you guys talking about? What are you seeing out there? And I think it would be fun to do these videos to say, this is what we talk about in the office. This is what's at the forefront of our mind. And like you said, Gary, we do market studies, financial studies for developers, but we really see a lot of these land uses tie together. And we're pretty opinionated and we're pretty strong with our ideas of how a community should work and how we should plan for the future. And I will say we don't just work for developers. Sometimes we get pegged as working for developers, but a lot of our clients too are public sector, cities, different districts, and other government entities that we work for. We just have a passion for land use. And I continue that passion for land use by teaching at UCSD. And that involves or results in a whole nother litany of issues and topics that we discuss here in the office. So it'd be fun to bring some of that to the forefront here.
Yeah. And similarly, I taught for many years at UCSD and at USD, and did a stint at Arizona State University for a couple of years. And so I've had a similar educational background in terms of mentoring a lot of people. I would say that what interests me is similar to what Nathan just articulated. I mean, I just think that everything real estate is about life. Basically, we all work in real estate. We work in a box, and within that box occurs all the activities that Homo sapiens engage in. It's where we live, where we work, where we shop, where we recreate. And so what we study and what we're interested in are the activities that occur within that box and what the implications of that are in terms of our community, not just real estate, not just even land use, but just general public policy. In Southern California, there's the big issues relate to growing up. Essentially, how does a community deal with growth? And how do we deal with public policies that seem to be arranged that fight growth? In other words, how much housing units should we add? What kind of housing should we add? What are the implications of that in terms of the economic and the fiscal, and also in terms of the environmental? So these are the kinds of topics that we talk about a lot. So I thought of the array of things that we could chat about over the coming weeks and months involved not just the food groups involving real estate, Nate, office, residential, retail, all the things that are going on in those sectors, but we'll just talk about sort of what the public policy play out is of the things going on in those areas. One of the key issues right now, for instance, is we're going to see a lot of vacant office space in a market that's come out of the pandemic with companies and employees recognizing that they don't necessarily need to sit in the office anymore. And we all know sort of what the play out of that has been in terms of work habits, but in terms of people holding those assets, the people that own those buildings, what are they going to do? Because those people aren't all going to come back. They're all not just going to stay away either. There'll be some kind of hybrid approach to how and where we work, but it has very significant implications about the value of those assets. Similarly, in the residential area, we don't see a lot of for sale single family development anymore, at least on the West Coast in the urban areas. And we see mostly apartments being built. What are the implications of that in terms of not just the real estate implications, but in terms of the elimination of wealth building on the part of younger generations? If they're just going to be renters and not homeowners, what are the implications of that socially and in terms of how our community is going to grow and prosper? And then lastly, in the retail sector, we've seen just a real slippage in the amount of retail space that's actually needed. Some people suggest that we overbuilt retail. Hindsight is 50-50. We probably did. And now what we're finding ourselves as a company doing is a lot of studies and analysis that relate to, what do we do with retail that we just don't need anymore? What I call vestigial retail. How do we transform those kinds of environments? So all these issues are interesting in and of themselves, and they bleed into bigger issues. And I think all that is what we're going to chat about over the coming weeks. In addition, I think we're also interested in where are we in the economy? We're always having this discussion, aren't we, Nate, about where we stand economically in the cycle.
Yeah, I would just add, I don't know, what was I going to add?
If I were to read your mind, I would say you would add that you and I have different opinions of things. We don't agree on everything. Sometimes we agree to disagree, and we see how it really does play out. And that actually invites the most interesting discussions, doesn't it?
I will add that we do agree to disagree on a lot of things. And one of our favorite debates in the office is automated cars and electric vehicles and driverless cars. And we go back and forth all the time on that. So I'll just say, stay tuned to these videos. And especially if you have a question or a topic, we'd love to hear from you, and feel free to email us, and we'll try to address our thoughts regarding those as well.